Welcome to Your Story Medicine. Today, I am with Melissa Ruiz, who is the founder and visionary of Melissa Ruiz Empowerment, a soulful business coaching powerhouse that mentors mystical, offbeat entrepreneurs to start and scale their business through a spiritually universal lens. Through her coaching programs, she empowers spiritual entrepreneurs to step into their leadership and to pour their knowledge back into their own networks with a large focus on the Black, Indigenous, people of color, and LGBTQIA plus communities. Not only that, but Melissa Ruiz was one of my coaches. I still consider her a mentor in my life. And I actually started working with her after I'd already made six figures in my business, after I had hired so many coaches, because while I had the strategy, while I knew the how to, what felt off was the alignment. Because to be real, a lot of us, when we first step into this work as coaches and as entrepreneurs, the buy-in is the money, like make six figures overnight. And I somewhat fell into that trap, but then I had to come back into the why. Like I didn't go into business to be a coach, nor did I do it to make money. And Melissa was so integral in my journey of finding that alignment and coming back to embodiment, and then also feeling safe with giving abundantly. Whereas I feel like before I was told to give less, and I get the importance of boundaries, but boundaries don't have to be a wall, which I think is something so important that you taught me, Melissa. And so, by the way, another brag is that Melissa scaled her coaching business to seven figures in less than 3 years through applying yoga philosophy, soulful methodologies, and also just being a badass queer woman of color, unapologetic,
Yes.
without allowing the stories of our oppression to victimize us into a total state of freeze. That
Okay.
part. So,
Okay.
so Melissa, first question I love to always ask my guests is, what is it that you're celebrating about yourself today?
Oof. Okay. This is, I guess, off topic, but maybe on topic. I am celebrating the fact that I'm going to be living in a van. I'm going to be living in a van in a couple of weeks. And, just listening to you, first of all, June, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I just love you so much and adore you, respect you. And I'm excited to share space here with your audience. And something that you said really rang a bell, right? Like, I didn't get into this for money. And so the reason why I got into it is because I always imagined going to Bali. I think that was my first initial reason why starting my business. I was like, I'm going to start my business. I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to take all the money that I acquired, and I'm just going to go live my life in Bali. And then COVID happened, and then everything closed down. And of course, it wasn't just about money, but I think it was the image of freedom that I had in my mind, that somehow, some way, like the representation of Bali was that. And then slowly and surely, as I traveled down through my entrepreneurship journey, I had to learn many different whys, because every month I would ask myself, why the fuck am I doing this shit again? And why am I doing this again? And why? And then, you really, like, your roots got to go all the way down, but, beyond the earth, into another galaxy, into another dimension. Like, people who are really doing this work 20 years, 30 years, I promise you, it is not for money. Like, their whole heart, their whole dharma has to be in it. And so I'm celebrating going to live in a van and just seeing what happens. My life, I was actually just thinking about this today. I don't live to do things that I've done before. I live my life in the unknown. And I think this car is representing that for me. There's so many things, June, you have no idea. And for anybody who's ever in business where they're working in predictability, because that's what we sometimes end up doing. What's predictable? How many people did I enroll before? How many can I enroll now? What did I make last month? I gotta top that. I don't do that. I don't live my life like that. Every day just gotta feel good. And to be in a car and wake up every day and not know, like, yeah, how is my business going to thrive? It doesn't matter to me. It's like, I'm going to motherfucking thrive. You know what I'm saying? And that is the win. That is the win. It's the human before the business. The business is always going to be there. It's okay. And it's going to change the more I change. And so I'm celebrating just having the balls to not be in my comfort, to not just say, this is what's working and I'm going to continue to do it until it's not working anymore. It's like, no, it's working and I'm going to live my life. And that's it. And I'm affirming that I'm going to make more money this year than I have any other year. I don't know how, but I'm not focused on the how. I let universe focus on the how. I focus on the who. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to know? What circles I need? All of that. It's the who. I don't give a shit about the how from the get-go. And that was something that I've learned through being an entrepreneur and just showing up every day relentlessly. It's not always easy. It's easeful and there are easeful parts, but it's not always easy. So don't get tricked. Don't get tricked thinking you're going to get rich. Don't come to the online space thinking you're going to get rich. It's just a big illusion. You got to come with your whole heart. You got to come with all your parts. You got to come with your vulnerability. And so that's what I'm celebrating today. Just having the balls to do it. I've been scared. I have been, in full transparency. I've been scared. I've been nervous. Things are changing. We don't like change. We want predictability, but I'm not going to live my life like that. And I'm not going to live in a cage. That's what I'm not going to do. And so we'll see what happens.
First off, I feel like your ovaries are so much stronger than any balls. So let's just like celebrate that first and foremost, because your wife is gonna probably be listening to this and be like, hold up.
Balls? You mean ovaries? You mean fallopian tubes.
Right. Something that we talk so much about is money. And I remember you posting something along the lines of like, money doesn't make you more of who you are. And I'm like, what? But that's what we've been saying. So what is your philosophy then when it comes to money and what money does for us when we're able to make more of it?
This is a double-edged sword. It's two sides of the coin, right? Because I can talk to you about the energetics of money. And that's where that phrase, money doesn't make you more of who you are. Only your life and only experiences can make you more of who you are. Only when you answer the question of who am I really, right? And this is why I love bringing in that yoga philosophy, right? Because it challenges us to ask, if I'm not the body and I'm not the mind, then who the fuck am I, right? If you take that question, it applies to every area of your life. It's not because of the color of your skin. It's not because of the gender you're born in. It's not because of the job you decide to do in this earthly realm. And it's not because of the money in your bank account. Who you are is beyond all of the physical 3D things. And so there's that aspect to it. And so I know, and I have a deep relationship with the energetics behind money. When I started to realize and first of all, I realized all of this not having money. Well, I grew up poor, and I always love to tell people that because, I think sometimes we look at people online and we're like, oh yeah, like, look at you, you're making money. Like, it's easy for you. It's like, no, bitch, I'm not fucking privileged. Okay. Like, if you go to Ecuador to where my mother lives, like, they did not fucking have electricity. They had no running water, like poor AF. Okay. And like, that's how we grew up. Like that was my life. That was what I was exposed to. My aunt was the town reader. Like they didn't have much, but they were soul rich. Like they really, really were. They were the type of people that just gave and gave and gave. And by looking at them, you would never know. And so when my parents came to this country, I learned a lot of different things about money. And I learned a lot of different things about not having it and, the challenges and the struggle. And honestly, I just call it what it is. That poverty mindset of I don't have, you just keep repeating it. And if you keep repeating things that you're not challenging, you eventually become that because your life is a string of the things that you say. And so it's not about the things that have happened. Yes, that aspect exists. But if we keep pulling back from the past and dragging it into the future, it's like we're re-traumatizing ourselves. Me personally, I'm not going to sit here and continue to keep speaking of the things that I don't have. I have enough. I have more than enough. And that's where I connected to the energy of abundance. And I connected to the energy of abundance, truly not having it. When you don't have it, you realize actually what's really, really important. But when I was in my 20s, I did chase money. And so I became a TV producer because that was what was ingrained in my mind. My mom and my dad, they fucking worked hard. Like, they worked hard. I saw them bust their ass. My dad had to join the military in this country, bust his ass. It was 4 kids. They didn't have enough. Like, they legit didn't have enough. My sister, she has a master's degree as a social worker. She was the first person to graduate college. And I think that's so weird. Because when I talk to my friends, they're like, what do you mean? Everybody is educated. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, we're not, because we didn't grow up in this country. And so I was the second, my sister was the third, she has a degree in finance, she moves stocks and bonds. And so I'm really proud of our family. I'm really proud of the work that we've done to get here. And so needless to say, I became a TV producer for 13 years. And so I did reach a certain level of income. I did reach a certain level of status. I was married. I did buy a BMW. I did buy a home. And through those experiences, I realized that I was so unhappy. And that was the second initiation that I had with money, where I realized money truly doesn't make you happy. And I was told that story. And I think I'm not the only one. I think many of us have been told that story, not only from our ancestors because they didn't have it, but from our government, from politics. They have pushed us to be these robots where all we have to do is, accumulate and buy and succeed and get more stuff and buy a bigger house so you can buy more furniture and more things. And it's like, nah, bro, like, I sold my home. I went into a 480 square foot home and I just was living my best life. I'm about to live in 80 square feet in a van. Okay. Like, I'm really going to understand that it's not about the stuff that I acquired. It's about who I am inside and where I take myself. My mind comes with me. My thoughts come with me. And so with all of that being said, one of the reasons why I do talk so heavily about currency is because the reality is, even though sometimes I kind of go to the ethers and, kind of live in a spacey world, we are incarnated on earth and currency is the motherfucking currency. Okay. So to deny that is ridiculous. To deny that currency exists in this reality, and this is how we use it. And to just say like, well, I don't care about money. And it's like, but you should. I don't like when people say that, I don't care. It's like, I don't live my life like that. Okay, you don't have to live your life like that. You don't have to put all of your focus on money, but don't you realize that in this life, you get to do so many beautiful, amazing things with it. Not only do you get to do so many beautiful, amazing things for it, you can provide a lot for your family. You can provide so much for your community. And this is just an illusion. Money doesn't make you who you are. It's just a tool. Doesn't matter. Nothing makes you who you are. And I think that is the biggest lesson, even being a mother. And I think oftentimes when kids leave the nest, you will see mothers have a complete, meltdown. You will see them have this midlife crisis because they've identified their whole life with parenting, that they don't even know what it's like to be just a regular human. We're all humans with our own desires. And when we get identified and attached, which Jude, I love to talk about our attachments to so many things, even our attachments to thinking negative, even our attachments of thinking that I was this way, I grew up this way, and so now I have to be this way forever. Not in my book. Not in my book. Just because you're standing in a certain position right now does not mean that has to dictate who you become in the future. It's just one sliver of who you are now, and that's it. And I don't think about it. Think about affirmations. Think about attracting abundance. Think about living your best life, or the quantum you, or the highest version of who you are. You can't get to that place with who you are right now. You have to think bigger. And that's what the pitfall is. Most people want things and they have desires. And the reasons why they're not getting to those desires is because they're using their limited beliefs now to get there. And you can't get there from there. And this is why the mindset work is so fucking radical. I don't fight for my limitations. I stopped fighting for what was right and what was wrong. I stopped fighting over, whether I was poor or not. I'm just myself. Every single day, the mission is, can I be happy? Can I love more? Can I give more? Can I connect the heart portal to the universal portal? That's it. And if we continue to do that, we continue to unfold. That's all I want. That's all I want out of life. The business just ended up squeezing its way there. I never started my business to be a business owner. I really didn't. I started to teach people yoga and meditation because it just radically changed my life. Do you know the power we have and we gain when we take a step back and we get to witness our thoughts? So powerful. And that's what I gained. And I realized that I was so mean to myself. I realized that all I did all day was judge myself all day. And I think most of us live our life like that. I lived in my mind, and I never realized that I lived in my mind until I started to practice the yoga philosophy behind it. And it changed my life. And I started to share that with people. And one thing led to another. I think it was one person asked me how I put together my offer, because I do happen to be really good at branding. I was a TV producer, and it just took off. But I think it's a testament to what happens when we're not attached, and when we enter something with the willingness to just see where it goes. And that's what we're missing in life right now. So many of us only do things if we're guaranteed a result. And that's why, not for nothing, I'll just say it. I don't know who said it on your podcast, but that's why so many online entrepreneurs are suffering right now. Because there's so much attachment to the result, because there's so much illusion to what they think they're supposed to do. And see, when I first started, I'm a little bit older too. I'm 38, so I don't give fucks. Like I gave fucks in my last life. In this life, zero. I don't give a shit what you have to say about me. I don't give a shit what you comment. I don't give a shit. The only thing I give a shit about is if I feel good and if I'm in alignment to the message that I have to share. Because ultimately, polarity is part of the 12 universal laws. And so the counterpart is people are going to disagree with you. And if you live your life with wanting everybody to agree with you, you failed Earth School. That's not the point. It's not to be popular. We're not in high school. It's so that you can dig your heels in and be yourself. That's it. That's the only thing. If you could be yourself, cleaning a toilet, in business, whatever it is, it's not, don't pin and shame people for what they do. It's not about what we do. It's how we do it. It's with the integrity of how we do it that matters. That's it. And so it's interesting. It's interesting how so many people are really, really hurting because they're looking around and they want other people's approval. Who cares? Who cares if you think somebody's going to cancel you? Who cares if you think that this person that just popped up yesterday and all of a sudden went viral and all of a sudden has a blue check? Who cares if you think that what they think is more important than what you think? We failed. That's not the point. We have to connect back to our bodies. We have to connect back to ourselves. We have to connect back to the wisdom that lives within us. And I think that is what is being ushered in right now. That is what's actually happening right now with this new earth energy. It's sweeping so many people, yourself, me. It's calling people forth to continue to come back to that integrity. Yes, go back to the motherland. See what happens there. I bet you something bountiful is going to happen there. Yes, go live in a fucking van if that's what you want. Go travel the world. Don't worry about making money, because abundance will always find you. It starts from the inside out.
I think it's so wild to that in Kendrick Lamar's latest album, you can hear Eckhart Tolle being quoted throughout the whole thing. And I'm just like, what is going on? So there is this awakening that's happening. I love how you said Earth School. I'm like, where do I sign up for that? Oh shit, I'm already on it. I'm in it. I enrolled, not with, I'd like to say without my consent, but I'm sure I made that decision before I reincarnated back into this body. And really the journey is that remembering, it's that reclamation. Man. And I feel just resurrected hearing you speak again. I get it. I'm like, yes. Well, yeah. And also I feel like a huge part as to why it is you can give very little fucks about other people's opinions about you is because I know a little bit more about your story. Whereas when you were a TV producer, you were in a 10-year relationship. And by the way, the unraveling of my own 10-year relationship happened while I was in Melissa's program. And a big reason why I continued working with you is not so much because of the business strategy, but it was because I need somebody who knows what it's like to move through this grief, to move through this heartbreak, to be an embodiment of possibilities beyond this pain that I am carrying. I brought it with me to Tulum, to our retreat. It was the first time I actually had that space to just like let it out. And then suddenly like, okay. And we keep going, we keep moving. And so, especially for you, when you've made the choice to let go of everything that the American dream has told us will bring us joy, the job, the relationship, the money, and then you hit absolute zero. That's when it's right. It's like, okay, the only way from here is up. From a BMW and a house to a 400 square foot apartment.
You know what I'm saying?
To now 80 foot square foot home.
80 foot. And we only have 2 bins to put all of my clothes for every single weather. So I'm loving it. I love having a little bit of stuff. I'm also, I just don't spend money on things. You know, I would love it every time I would, you know, play dress up for our mastermind trainings. And, you know, my students would always be like, what are you wearing? I'm like, these are $20 shoes. These are $15 pants. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, if I have something nice, maybe somebody gave it to me. Maybe I actually really wanted it, but like, again, I really just don't put much focus on stuff. But I want to take a step back and, you know, mention Eckhart Tolle, because he's a big teacher of mine. So is Abraham Hicks. You know, the philosophy that they're bringing through is so beautiful, and something that he always says, and he practices a lot of presence, which lends itself to yoga and lends itself to mindfulness and lends itself to so many other beautiful practices that allows you to be the person who witnesses, right? And not the person who's so engulfed, because that's what actually happens. We get so engulfed in our identities that we become them. We get so engulfed in our depression that we are depression. We can't see the separation. And so we just become anger. We become all of these things. And Eckhart Tolle said this beautiful thing that I always remember, and anybody can practice it. And so I want to share it with whoever is listening, to ask ourselves as we show up in every now moment, ask, am I being a slave to the next now moment? Meaning, is everything that I'm doing just a means to an end to get to the next moment? And you don't know that you're in it until you're in it and you're rushing, and you know, you spill something and then you realize like, wait, why am I rushing? Oh, because I'm trying to go upstairs to my office. Okay. Why am I trying to get to my office? Oh, because I'm trying to get to work. Okay. That is the point where you understand that you're being a slave to each and every now moment. And the practice really here is to take a step back, to breathe prana, chi, life back into your body, and to recognize that this moment is soon going to be the past. And it's this moment that we have to be in appreciation. Is this moment that we bring that energy of gratefulness. Imagine if you operated your business like this. Imagine if you showed up in life like this. Do you know how simple those practices are, but how rich they actually make you? When you stop being a slave to each and every moment. It's so beautiful. And so for me, that point where I was at the bottom of the barrel, life body slammed me. It really felt like that. Really felt like life really body slammed me, and I had to kill these past versions of myself that were in the way of me. You know, I used to sit in my bed. I remember when I was going through all of this grief, and I used to just imagine. And I remember clearly, I used to say to myself, Melissa, one day you're going to be popping, girl. You're going to have your own business. You're going to be happy, whatever you do. I didn't know what business I was going to do, but I know I was going to be able to self-sustain myself. I know I was going to be able to be in different countries and travel and just work with people that really filled build me up, I knew that I was going to get out of that situation. And so I just stood hopeful, and I learned to uncover what are the things and what are the beliefs that are really standing in the way. And when I really examined that, I had to take radical responsibility for my life. I had to stop blaming my parents. I had to stop blaming the city I grew up. I had to stop blaming poverty. I had to stop blaming people that did me wrong. I had to stop blaming. And you see, sometimes we love to blame because it takes the ownership off of us. It gives us an excuse on why we're not where the fuck we want to be. And I had to stop doing that. It's not an excuse. A lot of fucked up shit happened to me. Listen, I'm not saying, and I'm not negating anybody's trauma. Like, there is space to be held for that, because I had to go into my own parts and reparent so many of them through lots of years of sitting with myself and releasing these parts and reparenting these parts. But at a certain point, I had to move forward. At a certain point, I had to alchemize all of that and say, you know what? Nobody puts thoughts in my mind. And so that means I get to co-create the life that I desire. How do I do that? By showing up every day, doing a little bit at a time on the direction that I want. And that's what I did every single day. And you would be surprised how fast your life changes. I went from getting a divorce, selling my home, literally being homeless, being broke for a year, teaching yoga for $15, 4 times a week, to just building a business faster than I can blink. I have clients that come from me and I'm like, how? Like, how do you even know about me? Like, I don't feel like I'm popular. I don't feel like my accounts are going viral and like I'm blowing up, but it's through the heart energy. You know what I'm saying? It's just in being yourself that resonates with people, and people are hungry for that. People don't want the bro strategy. People don't want to be tricked. People want real. They want authenticity. They want somebody that can hold space for them and pull them up. Because I'm not going to do that. My business is Melissa Ruiz Empowerment. If you want to come here and you want to get empowered, you want to feel activated, you want to feel like you can literally do anything that you ever fucking wanted, I can do that because I hold that belief for myself. And you see, only somebody that holds that belief for themselves can take you there. You have to recognize the being that you are. The being that I am is connected to God. The being that you are is connected to God. The being that you are is connected to the vastness of the universe, the heart of the universe, the energy that creates worlds. So why would I ever think, June, that you couldn't build a multiple 6-figure business or do whatever it is that you do? Of course you can do that. And they can do it, and he can do it, and she can do it, and whatever pronouns you use can do it. We all can, and we can go beyond that. The only thing that stops us is our mind. And I'm going to share with you my limiting belief, because we all have them. If somebody came to me right now, because it's easy to talk like this and people are like, yeah, but it sounds like, you know what? No. If somebody came to me right now and said, you know what, Melissa, I'm going to help you build a multiple 8-figure business, I would be triggered and I would have limiting beliefs. Why? Because I don't know that reality. That seems so far away from me. That feels like I'm going to have to sell my soul. And see, everybody has beliefs that are stopping them from achieving different goals. Take out the money goal. Take out the money goal and replace that with joy. Everybody has beliefs on why they can't access joy. This. And they love to retell the stories. This happened to me. This happened to me. This. Okay. You got to talk to somebody. You got to process that. You got to sit with yourself. And then we got to write new narratives, because honestly, we have infinite intelligence running through our veins, infinite intelligence that creates supercomputers. And so we're actually a lot more like AI and computers than we think. And so we can rewrite a lot of our programs. And this is what's happening right now with this new earth energy. Humans are waking up to that possibility. We're not believing anymore that this is just how we're born. And this is just, this is the shit end of the stick that we got. It's like, no, but there's a whole other stick. Why are you just looking at one part? If you keep looking for problems, humans, you will find problems after problems after problems. If you keep looking for solutions, you will find solution after solution after solution. It's about training your mind. People don't want to hear this shit because they think it's too easy. It's not easy. It takes work, because when you're faced with a trauma, when you're faced with hardship, when you're faced with your bank account going low, when you're faced in a situation that you don't want to be in, that's where you got to activate that thing that religions call unshakable faith. That's where you have to activate that. That's where you have to learn to see the silver lining in everything. That's when you have to learn to lean into God and say, you know what? God, it's your will, not my will. My hands are off the steering wheel. You take me where you want me to go. Place me where you want to place me. Use me in the ways that you need to use me, because I'm here as a vessel. We're all God's image. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not about money. It's not. It's about something bigger than that. But let's not be silly either. Let's utilize Earth School. Let's utilize the plant beings. Let's utilize the mountain beings. Let's utilize the earth beings. Let's utilize it. I didn't say abuse. Utilize. Let's commune with her. Let's have a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time. I think it's time that we get out of this, like, what can I get out of life? How do I do the 1, 2, 3 step? And let's have a bigger conversation of what makes humans happy. Because actually that one question, and I say this over and over, is ultimately what got me on this path. And I want to take a step back, because we're always on the path. Nobody gets on the path. We're on the path the minute we're born. But it truly awakened me to know that I'm on a purposeful path when I started to ask myself, who am I really outside of this job, outside of this marriage, outside of the things that I see myself as, and how do I become happy? Furthermore, how do humans become happy? I felt like I was like a scientist in a lab. I'm like, but no, for real. How do humans be happy? How are humans happy? Because I was just sold on this happiness thing and it didn't work out. And so I'm the student of spirit. Spirit has given me credentials. I have certain other credentials, but I was telling my wife this the other day, life initiates you. Life will teach you. Life will teach you. Experiences will teach you. Yes, go get certified on the things that you want. There's certain things that you can't do without certifications, all of this stuff, but life teaches you. Practice the practice. That's all. And don't get caught up in who has this certificate and that certificate. Like, do things because you want to do it, not because you think it's going to get you closer to a certain result. That's where the illusion and the attachment lives.
Yeah. So what is it that you then are doing to stay grounded, especially as you're about to make this huge transition into van life? And also, what is it that you're learning to release?
Oh my gosh, loaded question. I'll say the release and then I'll end with the grounding. I'm learning to release control. I think that's something that can apply to all humans, no matter, how long you've been doing this kind of work. Every single day, it's an invitation to release control. Every day, it's an invitation to thinking I have things together, or, the egoic mind loves to think that it's predicting things and it has this nice spreadsheet with a plan. And it's like, Melissa, in September, you're going to do this, and then it's going to lead to that, and it's going to lead to this. And, I do entertain it a little bit, but I know that when I go, I have to be ready. I just have to be ready to surrender. And I have to learn to surrender in a way that I have never had to surrender before. Because when I surrendered through that big breakthrough, I had no choice. Where do you go when you're at the bottom? Nowhere. You said it, up. But how do you surrender when you feel like you have so much joy, you have so much happiness, you have so many good things going for you? And so that's surrender.
Oh, that part though. How do you surrender when you're not pushed out, like when there's no trauma? Well, when things are going good and you still let go.
You still let go. So that part, releasing control and just knowing that God got me. It's all good. I just got to continue to affirm that I'm on the path and I'm never off of it, and things are always on time and nothing will ever miss me. And there's no need to stress. Everything's all good, you know? And I repeat these mantras every day when I wake up before meditation. I put my hands on my body and I'm like, okay, we're doing it again. It's another day. You got it. Let's see what happens. It's another 24-hour adventure, you know, and release control, surrender. It's not going to be in the way that you think. It's going to be in the best way for your highest good. And you don't know what that looks like because you're not a genie in a bottle. You got to let life do what life does. And I think that to me is like, you know, I was connecting with my guides and, you know, they were showing me how many times I have come to Earth School, and they were showing me how I really do think it's a playground. It's so interesting to me, you know, and I think that lightheartedness, that fun part is what makes things really click in my life and what makes things easier. It's not, I don't have the easiest life. I'm just saying it just does make it easier because it's a game. It's a game and I want to play. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, let me in. I want to play. I want to go. I want to get in this van. I want to drive around. I want to see. I want to build the business. I want to maybe now. I want to build another business. I want to become a yogi, a nomad. Like, I want to be all the things. I want to be all the things. You know, I'm fluid. I'm all the elements. I'm nothing. I'm everything. And so it's been fun. And so to your question, releasing control, that's what I'm releasing, and really dropping into surrender. How have I been grounding in? I've been connecting deeper to the spirit world, specifically the animals and the insects. And so I have a strong meditation practice. I've been doubling up on my meditation. I only meditate for 10 minutes. People are always surprised by that, but 10 minutes is really good for me. I always journal, but I've been going into nature and I've been connecting more with spider. I've been connecting more with, you know, snakes and the plant beings and the trees. I've been talking more to the trees. There's a beautiful tree that I wake up to, and I've just been asking for guidance and really listening into the whispers of the universe. I feel like I'm going beyond the practices that have helped me so much. I think on a surface level, that's what they were. They were tools that helped me connect, but I'm going deeper and I'm being initiated into more. I don't know all the answers because I really don't know. I'm just being an open student right now, but I know the plant kingdom, the crystal kingdom, and the animals are really, really showing themselves to me, especially crow and eagle, lots of insects. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's how I'm grounding.
I have one more question for you,
Yeah.
which is I'm just reflecting on that voice that was coming through to you when you were in your grief. The one that said, okay, bitch, this is not it. One day people are going to know your name. You're going to change the world. You're going to have money flowing in. You're going to impact so many lives. And so now I invite you to envision this next iteration of yourself, this future ancestral version of yourself, speaking to present day Melissa and to the rest of us. And what are the words of wisdom that she has to say?
Ooh, okay. My future self, my quantum self. I feel like this version of myself would say, there's nothing for you to worry about. Continue to drop into your heart. You did it. You're going to continue to share wisdom that you learned through us. You're going to share with your community. Don't ever doubt yourself. You have everything that you need. Don't look around. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm with you. I've always been with you. I've been holding your hand. I've been guiding you. Allow yourself to release judgment. And yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
I feel all right. Look, I feel like you're already walking her, embodying her, and being that permission slip for so many of us. I love you so much, Melissa. Thank you for being such a light and mentor to my life and so many others. And I am so excited to see you soon in the flesh outside of these squares. Where's it that people can go to find you, by the way?
Yes, you can go on my Instagram. That's where I'm most active, at I am Melissa Ruiz. You can also check me out on my website, I am melissaruiz.com. Those are the two platforms that I'm most active on. I just started a TikTok, so follow me on TikTok. I had one before, I turned it down. I just restarted one, same thing, underscore I
Yeah,
am Melissa
yeah.
Ruiz.
And if you enjoyed this channeling from Melissa, then definitely tune into her podcast as well. You will get so much more. And yeah, thank you for doing the work to make your ancestors proud.
Yay, June. Thank you for holding the space and having me here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, humans, and see you soon.